Get ready for the next battle. Round one. Fight.
Do it! Do it! Yeah!
Great.
所詮は雑魚だったな。
Round two. Fight.
行くぞ。
Round three. Fight. Round four. Fight.
うっとうしい。
Final round. Fight. You lose. Get ready for the next battle. Get ready for the next battle.
Round 貴様をここで終わらせる。
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight. Final round. Fight. You lose.
ああ
Get ready for the next battle. Get ready for the next battle.
今日のおやつは何にしよう。そうし
Round
よ
one. Fight.
う。よっしゃ。せや。よっ。しゅっ。あー。やー。よっ。ほっ。ふっ。よっ。いけ。せや。やー。どっ。しゅっ。よっ。あー。いけ。へっ。ちょ。あー。
Round two. Fight.
全力よっもらい
Round three. Fight. おやつは You
あん 今日のおやつは何にしよう。そう
Round
しよう。
one. Fight.
うっしゃほっ全力ちゃちゃりゃシュッシュッよっはっいけせやこっちこっちせや
Round two. Fight. 3. Fight!
ちょっ今日のおやつは迷わないって決めてるから。
Round 4. Fight.
おやつはあんまに決めた。今日のおやつは何にしよう。そうしましょう。
Round 1. Fight.
こっちこっちこっちこっちこっちこっちこっちこっちこっちこっちやーここ
Yeah, yeah, we've seen the combos before. That's so interesting.
Round 2. Fight. 3. Fight. やー Final round. Fight.
Yeah.
Get ready for the next battle.
Okay.
Get ready for the next battle. Fight. Round two. Fight. Round three. Fight. Get ready for the next battle.
Denver, 2,500 years ago. Persepolis, Persia, the Spring Evenings, 450 BC. 23 nations are ascending a grand staircase carved into a massive stone platform. Armenians carrying silver vessels with griffin handles, Babylonians with textiles, Indians with jars of perfume, Ethiopians eating a rare long in 330 BC, during a wild feast, an Athenian companion named Thias stands and makes a speech. He picks up a torch. In 1 month, 200 years of construction becomes ash. But here's the irony. The Persians never called this city Persepolis. It's a Greek name, city of the Persians, given by the people who destroyed it. The Persians we were ceremonial part. This is the city that took a century to build and burned in a single night. 522 BC, a Persian nobleman named Darius seizes the Achaemenid throne through
Get
force
ready
and
for the
political maneuvering.
Yeah.
Darius already controls the largest empire on Earth, stretching from the Indus River to the Mediterranean Sea, from the steppes of Central Asia to the deserts of Egypt. 50 million people, 23 provinces.
Skończymy przed moim kolejnym
Round
He
one.
already has 3 capitals, Susa for winter, Pratana for summer, and Babylon for administration. Darius wants something not another administrative center, something ceremonial, a stage where the entire empire gathers once again, preferring unity. In 518 BC, Darius's grand vision begins to rise. Darius chooses a location in the Mars-dashed plain, the modern-day Fars, at the foot of Rakhma, the mountain of Persia. His engineers designed something unpredictable, a massive artificial platform covering 13 hectares, raised up to 18 meters. The platform is constructed from dark gray limestone quarried from nearby mountains, filled with mud brick and faced with precisely cut stone blocks. It's not a fortress. The walls are too low for defense. It's a stage. Archaeologists from the University of Chicago's Oriental Institute excavated receptacles and discovered tens of thousands of clay tablets royal proclamations, religious texts, they were tablets list workers by name, occupation, and payment. Stonemasons from Persia, decorators from India and Egypt, bricklayers from Babylon, sculptors from
Skończymy przed
Ionia,
moim kot...
women workers alongside men, payments in wine, sheep, and grain. Even administrative records of special post-harvest methods, providing extra grain and wine to support new mothers. This wasn't built by slaves. It was built by free workers, compensated and respected. From Grozny, the entire application of its materials is particular.
Round two.
Darius commissions gold and silver foundation tablets to be buried beneath Babylon, the great audience hall. The inscription given by the Persian King of Persia, King of this earth. maps a vast empire stretching across the known world, borders of India and edges of Darius, 86 BC, never seeing Arsa complete. But his son,
Yeah. Can I also play a button? Can I push a button, please?
structures with the approach Arsa, passing the plane before the musical platform. Around the staircase, quietly, leads up to the Xerxes entrance state. A saloon, roughly 25 meters per side, supported by 4 massive columns. Guarding the eastern entrance stand 2 lamassu, colossal stone doors with human forms, each arm 10 wide. Inscription in 3 languages, Old Persian, Canaanite, Xerxes, seems beautiful. Beyond the gate, you turn south. Fight. Each 24 meters tall. Contains 36 arms, 3 6 by 6 width. 3 corridors, east, west, the column caverns,
Round 3.
double-headed bulls, lions, sits atop and today, still standing. The ceiling is cedar wood, imported from sunlight shines on the high windows, gold. 10,000 people can gather. East of the upper rises the town hall, also columns, started by Xerxes, completed by Artaxerxes the First. It's even larger than the upper.
Why is that a fucking hit, man? Yeah, you block everything, you punish everything.
Xerxes. But here, the king can survey the entire platform.
Enough.
Get ready for the
Then,
next battle.
a vast complex of storage rooms where tribute from 23 satrapies is kept. Gold, silver, precious stones, fine textiles, and exotic animals. Water reaches the platform through an ingenious canal system. Underground clean water. Persian invention that will solve the east. But Persepolis isn't designed for daily governance. It's designed for one annual event. Every spring, when the equinox arrives, the world comes to Arsa. No leaves. New day. For over 3,000 celebrated today. No news marks the spring equinox. Day and night. And winter yields to rebirth. Darkness is to light. For Zoroastrians, no roots has cosmic significance. For Mazda, the supreme being, light, truth, and wisdom triumphs over chaos. Fire, sacred in Zoroastrians, symbolizes purity and divine presence. Yogi's celebrates this eternal victory of light over darkness, order over chaos. For science, yours is more than a religious festival. It's the empire's final and it's frozen forever in stone. Carved into the northern and eastern staircases of the Apollo are reliefs depicting this exact moment. But instead of just looking at the ruins, picture this. It's March 20th, 450 BC. Look at the Armenian delegation. You travel with ships, carrying the finest silver vessels with griffin wings. You ascend the brazen staircase as the sun rises on the mountain of mercy. The smell of roasting and burning incense fills the air. Musicians play flutes and violins. The pedigree is Babylonian, and you are surrounded by different nations, wearing distinct clothing, ascending together toward the King of Kings. You pass through the gate of all nations and enter the Apollo. 20,000 people fill the hall. 72 Apollos soar overhead. Far end, Artaxerxes the First sits in front of you. You approach, view, and present your silver vessels. Knights, tenfold, golden bracelet, golden link. Because this isn't simple taxation, it's reciprocity. The reliefs carved outside commemorate mutual obligation and domination. Later, the legendary banquets begin. 15,000 people. Royal tables grow. Sour stews, spiced with Arabian fruit, saffron-colored rice, exotic dishes with edible gold meat. With historians in Argo, Persian cooks were always inventing new dishes. This isn't just for meals. World tap, or common workers who built this magnificent city receive extra rations of olive, grain, meat. Everyone eats well. Around you, Babylonians, Indians, Egyptians, Lydians, 23 nations sharing a meal in an empire that feeds its people. For 200 years, this happens every spring. 23 nations ascending. The King of Kings receiving, kings exchange, guests share. Empire renewed. Then, in 332 BC, the greatest conqueror in history crosses the Hellespont. Everything changes. In 334 BC, 22-year-old Alexander of Macedon crosses Persian territory. In just 4 short years, he shatters the greatest empire on earth. Through a series of brilliant, relentless tactics at Granicus, Issus, and finally Gaugamela, Alexander crushes the Persian armies. King Darius III flees, and the Achaemenid Empire collapses. Alexander takes Babylon without resistance, and Susa. Then, in January 330 BC, he arrives at Persepolis. There's no battle. The city surrenders. Tiridates, the treasury, opens the gates. His perhaps he hopes for mercy. Alexander enters the ceremonial capital of the empire of his conquer. He's horrified by what he finds. 800 armies severely injured, and scarred. The Persians had kept them for centuries, but physically disabled them. Alexander sends the artisans home, but the destruction. For 3 months, Alexander's army occupies Persepolis. They loot the treasure systematically. 120,000 talents of gold and silver. Plutarch writes that it's the greatest accumulation of wealth ever amassed in any place. It takes 10,000 mules, 5,000 camels just to transport. The soldiers live in luxury. They occupy houses built for the king. They feast in halls designed for national celebration. They drink wine and royal. Alexander faces a question: what to do with Persepolis itself? Sparing as a symbol of his own imperial ambitions, he's declared himself the successor to the Achaemenid kings,
Get ready
new
for the
king
next
of
battle.
kings, or destroy it as revenge for what Xerxes did to Athens 150 years ago, when Persian armies burned the Acropolis, the temples of the gods. The decision is made during a feast, a catalyst.
Round one. Fight.
April or May 330. Was lost, but the night had come. Alexander hosts a symposium, a group drinking wine flows, musicians play, dancers perform, generals celebrate. The richest city. Among the guests is Thias, Athenian attire, companion of high status, and daughter of highly educated. At Tyra, who accompanied powerful men, participated in intellectual and political discourse. Thias is the companion of Ptolemy, one of Alexander's trusted generals, and future founder of the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt. At some point during the feast, Thias stands and quiets.
Round
She
two.
stands before the king
Fight.
and says something like this: Alexander, your greatest achievement is this: traveling in a procession, fire, attacks, Persian king, Athenians destroyed, and demolished. Persian people took centuries to build. Let this be revenge for the temples Xerxes destroyed. In 480 BC, Xerxes' armies invaded Greece and Athens, destroyed the temples on the Acropolis. Rumors are still fresh in the Greek cultural memory. The room erupts. Soldiers cheer. Overwhelmed by the moment, flushed, perhaps genuinely moved.
Round
Leaves.
three.
They form
Fight.
a Homos, victory procession in honor of the god of wine and ecstasy. Alexander leads, climbs follows. Musicians play flutes and pipes. The revelers carry torches, wear garments, and dance through the palace complex. The party is deliberate. The palace of Xerxes, a symbolic part of Persian imperial. Thias throws the first torch after Alexander. The cedar wood, a century and a half earlier, is dry and open. The flames catch instantly. Flames from beam to beam, room to room. Xerxes becomes an inflamed fire spirit. Abaddon ignites. The throne hall
Round
burns.
four.
The treasury, already looted, collapses in flames. Alexander's army nearby sees the fire and rushes in, thinking it's an accident. Wood. They join the fire burns. Cinder pools down. Stone burns. Gold and silver objects and treasure melt into puddles. When archaeologists excavate Persepolis in the 1930s, they find a layer of ash 1 to 3 feet deep. Black burn marks
Get ready
scar
for the
the
next
bases
battle.
of columns that survived. The Palace of Xerxes is the most damaged structure on the platform. The Tachara, protected by its position, ancient historians are deeply divided. Some claim it was a cold, calculated act of revenge for the burning of Athens. Others say it was spontaneous, a theatrical disaster fueled by wine. Soon the truth is probably both. The desire for revenge existed, and the execution was a full celebration. Later, perhaps years, Alexander returns to the set and sees what was done. Tons of Utah realizes he hasn't just destroyed he's erased the logic of human cooperation to the idea that a with respect to diversity and substance even demanded Phineas, for example, marries Helen after Alexander's death. They have connection. Ptolemy becomes Pharaoh of Egypt and founds the library of Alexandria, one of the great repositories of knowledge. The irony of this, the woman who wrote the sentence helped create an institution that would preserve human knowledge for centuries. Into the fire, the ceremonial part of the empire is gone. Persepolis was swallowed by time, becoming ruins known only to locals. It wasn't until the 1930s that archaeologists finally unearthed its secrets, finally proving its magnificent halls were built by human hands, not by machines. In the 1970s, before the Iranian Revolution, partial reconstruction occurs. 15 columns are re-erected in the Abaddon, giving visitors a sense of the original scale. In 1979, UNESCO designates Persepolis a World Heritage Site, recognizing its universal value. The Gate of All Nations survives, the Lamassu still guarding its gates. The reliefs remain extraordinarily preserved. You can still see the faces of the Canadian delegates, the details of the ribbon-banded vessels, the hints of the Babylonian walls, the colors of the paint, the outlines of the perfume, the Palace of Darius, the best preserved building, its survival is testament to the quality of Persian engineering, its fortunate position away from the coast of fire. Black burn marks still visible in the stone walls and the scars from the knives and the torch. What do these ruins teach us? They prove that the most enduring empires aren't forged with chains, but through reciprocity. Parsec was a monumental stage built by 3 respected workers of 23 nations, and tribute was exchanged for honor. There is a profound irony buried in the ashes of Persepolis. In that chaotic celebration, 30 BC, a single torch brought the physical heart of the Persian Empire. When fire consumed stone and cedar wood, while Alexander's empire fragmented immediately after his death, his spirit this festival of now triumph, light and darkness, still unites hundreds of millions of people. Every spring people is exactly as it did on this massive platform millennia ago.
Round 3.
Today, the surviving
Fight.
destroy a palace of a single night. The deal Conqueror's chaotic feats brought the palace of Xerxes to the ground. The legacy of the workers who built it. Fire consumes stone and wood, but not history. If you enjoyed this, there are many more lost civilizations to explore. Tell me in the comments, which city should I reconstruct next? See you on the next journey. I want to take a moment to thank the amazing channel members featured on the screen right now. If you'd like to support the channel, consider hitting the
Fight. One. Fight. Round two. Fight. Round three. Fight. Round four. Fight. Fight.
Oh, that was a fuck.
Round two. Fight. Fight!
Yeah, dude. Cannot try
Ready
anything.
for the next battle.
Yes, that's cute. I'm a hammer.
What if he happens to have a lot of friends that are women
Cheating.
and they've known each other for years,
I'm gonna-
years?
You gotta unknow that. You gotta unknow that because this is the only woman she can have. I'm just kidding.
When
Okay.
you have, well, there's like girls that I have that are straight home girls. Like
Okay.
I've known them for since like middle school, and I'll go get lunch with them or whatever. And it's not like I'm flirting with them or like hitting on them. If I was gonna hook up with them, I would have done it already. Fine.
I don't want to hear that. No, if my man were to go get lunch with another girl, why wouldn't he invite me? Why would I have to?
What if you're at work?
If my man's invited me and I said I couldn't go, she can still go.
Let's say, hey, Julia, you know, you get lunch if you want to come. And you're like, oh no, I can't.
I say that's funny, but that is not.
Get ready for the next battle. Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight. Round three. Fight. Fight. You Round 1. Fight. Round 2.
Thanks for follow, man. Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight. Final round. Fight. Okay.
Get ready for the next battle.
You ain't work no jobs. You don't have no money. Get up off of me.
Say we look alike. They say we're twins. Girl, this is the last time I did it. Oh, heck no!
Holy baby. He calling me. Look at your back.
Listen, you know you ain't supposed to be on my motherfucking couch. Get your ass off my couch.
Your mouse, man. Jeez.
I had some problem with this stomach after this exercise. I did it like 20 days, every day. And then like, what is this? I need a problem. That's a solution. I know you're like trainer, maybe you want some PT session at home. Because I have special method. Maybe, yeah, like for workouts. Like, you're doing this debug exercise, not like,
Exercise.
you're doing like, this. Yeah. You can try it.
Notice how Anatoly is always so careful with the ladies.
What is that? Happy? I mean, it's easy. Like this. My wife, she had the same one. And she didn't go. Like my wife had the same. My sister had the same. My father had the same. Everybody had the same. Not that I don't know. I have some problem with stomach and after this exercise. I did it like 20 days, every day. What is this? Solution. I don't go like later, maybe one time PT session, you know. I have special method. Many, I have like one workout. Like, you're doing it the month technique. You're doing like this one. Yeah. You can try it like
Notice how Anatoly was always so careful with the ladies.
what is wrong? Happy? I mean, it's easy. Like this. My wife, she had the same one. Yeah, she did it wrong. It's like regular one. My wife had the same. My sister had the.